Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over the Sig 522. This is a 22 long rifle. Mine is in the rifle configuration. 16-inch barrel. This is a blowback operated system. The actual Sig 550s all the way up to 556, I don't know if there's any more. All those iterations are a long stroke gas piston, but the 22 version is just a blowback operation, and it's a really sweet little rifle. We're going to do the complete teardown and reassembly of this rifle, and the purpose of this is, like my other videos, is to shed light on these videos on the forgotten weapons, the older generation rifles that don't get as much attention and videos as the new age rifles and pistols that everyone covers. I apologize if my cat gets in the video. He's an orange tabby if you just saw his paw, and he doesn't care at all where he goes. Come on. No. So, without further ado, we're going to get into the disassembly. We're going to do the upper receiver first, and then we're going to do the lower receiver. Alright. First, as always, ensure that the rifle is clear, or firearm, whatever you're using. These are really nice because they also have a bolt hold open. You hold this button to the rear, and it holds your bolt open. And then it also does the bolt release thing too. So it's really cool. I think this one was made around 2012. They do not make them or sell them any longer. And it's just a really neat little rifle. I shoot this competitively with in Steel Challenge. The only downside that I don't like about this rifle is the trigger. It is not the best trigger. An AR platform or the Tippmann Arms that uses AR style triggers or Ruger 1022s outclass this trigger easily. This trigger is very mushy, so I will show you that now. So we're clear, and all the way forward. No reset, no audible reset with this. Pull, hit a wall, pull a little bit more, and it'll finally break. So these aren't anything to write home about for trigger wise, but it's a fun gun to shoot. This one also has a side folding stock. Push this button here on the opposite side, folds over, and on the buttstock here on both sides, which is interesting, will go right here on your handguard. And it snaps together, and it's a smaller package. So we will go ahead, we'll do the upper receiver bolt carrier, and then we will do the lower receiver. The two halves come apart, just like a regular AR. You push the two pins here, and you pull up on the pins. And the halves come apart. Put the lower elsewhere, and we're going to focus on the upper receiver. To pull out the bolt, it's very easy. Push your charging handle to the rear, right here. And now you're going to pull up on the charging handle, pull straight out, and pull out your entire bolt. Now you have your barreled receiver. This looks like the 550, 551, 2, 3, 5 gas system, but this is just a fake plug. Just pull it straight out, nothing in it. To take off the handguards, we have to first take off this gas block. It's just a retainer. You're going to need an Allen wrench. I believe it was 3/16. Could be wrong. Don't quote me. Mine doesn't say it, sorry. just undo this Allen wrench here. Or sorry, out the screw. Put that up there. You're going to pull off your fake gas block. Should just come straight off. It's a little snug. And there we are. This is your fake gas block. Pull your plug, and you got this tube. You can hide candies, Skittles, whatever your heart desires in there. Probably batteries. I'll put that off to the side. And then your my hand guard comes off as one unit, but you can slide the top and the bottom apart. But I like to keep mine as one unit, and it slides off. Push up the bottom where your front takedown pin is, and then it's going to go over where your gas block goes, and it goes right over. Just a hollow piece of plastic. They do come off like that, so push forward, pull back, push forward, and they pop off. Put that to the side. Now I will not be pulling apart the barrel off the receiver or the compensator. These are both similar to the AR style platforms. This you just take a wrench, turn it off. This you take a wrench, spin it off, pull the barrel straight out. I do not have a barrel wrench for this, that's why I won't be doing it. But the only other thing for the upper receiver we're going to do is your bolt catch / bolt release. There is an Allen screw right here. You're going to take your Allen wrench, and unscrew it. Before you go too far, I put my thumb over the part just in case if it wants to pop out under spring tension, because it is under spring tension. Pull the screw out with your thumbnail or your fingernail, because half of it is threaded and the other half is just a pin. So the bolt catch will pop. We'll take that out. We'll catch and your spring, and that is all of your upper receiver. We're going to put this back together because it's quick, easy, and simple. There is a little pocket right here. That's where the spring sits in, and there's also a little pocket. There's two little pockets on your bolt catch. Your spring will sit in the front one. So we will zoom in a little bit. We'll put the spring in this little pocket. Doesn't help that that is magnetized. Get it standing straight up. We're going to put this piece to the rear. Make sure it lines up with the pocket on the part. Push down on the part, and then you're going to put your screw in. Let's see, focus. Your tip will go through the part. It'll hold it in place, and now screw it in. Some people might want to use Loctite to ensure this won't come out accidentally. That is completely up to you. And now we're going to use the good old German expression, good and tight. Spring tension, and she works. Now we're going to go over the bolt. This is your charging handle. And your bolt assembly. One thing I will not do is show you how to get this out, because quite honestly, I am not 100% sure on how to get it out. It's a blind hole, so I'm assuming you push the spring back and then this should fall out and then it will follow. But I have been unable to replicate how to do that, so I won't be showing you how to do it wrong or breaking my gun. So the first thing we're going to do is take off the recoil spring and the rod. Each side of this rod has what I call C-clips. Little C-clips. You're going to pick one side. I like to do this side and just take it off. Be very, very quiet, because if it does launch itself, you might want to know where it goes. And I was lucky, it landed on my hand. I take my thumbnails and I push both sides of the clip forward. We're going to take off your buffer. Well, I call it a buffer. There's going to be two sides. There's going to be a deep end and then a shallow end. Your shallow end is for your C-clip side. Take off the spring, push the rod from the front because it's still held in by the second clip. You don't have to take off the second one. The next thing we're going to do is take out the firing pin and firing pin spring by pushing out this roll pin. And this piece fell out. Usually it doesn't, but it goes here. I believe it's called a washer. And it just sits in that little recess on the bolt right there. Alright. We're going to do, I believe this is a one-sided pin, so I'm going to push it out going this way. So using this side and pushing out towards the left. Now, since the pin is out, use your thumb or your finger, put pressure on the firing pin, pull your punch out, and then slowly release your finger, and your firing pin and your firing pin spring will come out. So this is your firing pin. You'll have a notch cut on the top. That's what's being held in place with the roll pin, and then your spring. This is as far as I will show you how to take apart this bolt. And I apologize for the noise. I can't control an orange cat. But this is your extractor. So, in my mind, since this is a blind hole, there's no punches, there's nothing holding in place. We push this back, pull that back all the way. Pull that back, and then I believe this should fall out. I don't know if that's true, so I'm not going to show you and break my things and then almost break your things. So we'll just put this back together. We're going to do the firing pin. Make sure the spring gets on there nice and tight. And we're going to put this notch facing this, which will be facing up, like so. Put that in. Ensure the notch is still facing up. Line it up, push in, and then you should be able to see all the way through that hole. And it's times like this where I wish I had 3 hands, because it makes it much easier to do stuff like this. Alright, the pin is in enough that it's holding the firing pin, so I'm going to use the punch and push it the rest of the way through so it's flush with on this side. A little more. and then I just hit it so it's flush with this metal piece here. Alright, now we're going to put the recoil spring back on. Since we didn't take off both clips, we're going to push this one through. We don't have to go all the way just yet. We'll put this washer on. Again, that sits right there on that. Gets down there. Put your recoil spring on. Nothing too technical about this so far. Compress your spring. Hold it with one hand if you can. Or if you just kink it, push it up, and you can hold it with one hand. Get your buffer. Again, one has a deep side and one has a shallow side. Deep side down through the hole. And now we're going to put the C-clip on. And I'll go on the end of this. And again, be very, very quiet so you can see where this launches itself. Give it a spin, make sure it's on there. Nice and tight. And we put the bolt assembly back together. Give it a little test. And she's good. Now we can put the upper receiver back together, which won't take too long. We'll zoom back out. I'll put the bolt in last. I'll put the hand guards on first. So there's two ways you can do this. You could put them in halves and then put them together that way. Or in my experience, it's easiest for me to put this together like so. If it wants to behave. Put it together and then slip everything over. And then this tongue here at the bottom goes through your pin, to your pin, sorry. And it should look something like that. Putting on your fake gas block again, you're going to see that there's a notch cut out in this gas port. That is where the screw on your fake gas port will attach to. So push it all the way through. Again, lining this screw up with that notch. Right there. Looks about good. Now your gas port might move as you put your set screw in. That would be fine and dandy. Tighten the screw, little. Make sure it's in place and snug. That won't go anywhere anyway. And now for your bolt. The bolt is very easy, very simple. You're going to take it. You're going to put it into the rear of the receiver. Give you a couple angles. Rear of the receiver. And you're going to line up this part with this part here. That is for your charging handle. Now you're going to put your charging handle through that, into the bolt, and it'll snap together. If you hold the rear, you should be able to cycle the bolt. And that is your upper receiver tear down and reassembly. And next we will go into the lower receiver.